Welcome to the Go Zero Happy Hour, episode 4, innovation that's leading the charge. That is what we're talking about today. And I'm delighted to say that in the room, as always, it is David Wells, the CEO of Go Zero, Andy Taylor, the COO of Go Zero, and our special guest today, the amazing Karen Langford from electronic giant Vestel. How are you doing, guys?
Hi.
Hello.
My beer's empty.
That wasn't a second ago.
No, I'm Scottish, what can I say?
Yeah.
Now, for those of you that don't know about Vestel, they are the big dogs in electronics, household appliances, mobile tech, and most importantly for Go Zero, EV chargers. And Karen, just give us a little bit of information about what you do at Vestel and why you've joined us today.
Thanks for the introduction, Rick. And Vestel, it's probably a name that nobody's heard of, but we actually have a mega factory in Turkey, and it was part of a National Geographic mega factory series, and you can still find it online. It's called Vestel City. So we've been part of the EV project for about 5 years now. And everything that Vestel makes on the EV side is developed, designed and manufactured by Vestel. So it's all in-house. And we have about 50 R&D personnel working on the EV project. It's fair to say that everything has, the product has launched in Europe, but it's yet to launch in the UK. And Go Zero is going to be one of our partners in the UK, I'm pleased to say.
Super excited, yeah, totally.
Yeah. And also, the longer I work for Vestel, the more I realise how much R&D they spend and how many people they've got. They've got 40 PhDs working in the factory. So on the TV side, which is a big part of our business, we have over 200 software engineers, and there's a lot of cross-transferable skills. So the interesting thing about Vestel is we're now moving into EV charging and then e-bike batteries and potentially automotive. So it's quite exciting times, and it's nice to work with you guys because you're actually living and breathing charging and Teslas, and you probably have a lot more experience of what the infrastructure is like than we do because you have to live it day to day. So
yes, I'm going to get David and Andy's points on that in a few seconds, because that's definitely one of the topics we want to cover today. But we are going to be covering various things from charging infrastructure, the different tech and the innovation that's coming to the table, why people need to start thinking about home chargers and destination chargers at their premises as well. But before we get into all of that, we always go around and do a quick highlights of the week, Karen. So to give you a bit of a time to think about it, we'll start with David, who's down in sunny but slightly cloudy Cornwall. David, what's been your highlight?
Highlight of the week for me so far, we have launched our seed investment round into the company. So we're inviting investors to come on board and join our journey with Go Zero. And I'm really pleased to say, literally within a few days, we've sold over 60,000 shares already and growing. So we're going to be focused on that over the coming weeks. And yeah, that's been a really great highlight to kick that off.
Andy?
Well, yeah, super pleased about launching the seed round. Yeah, totally. I think I'm also pretty happy about two things this week. One is my barber shop's opening. So I have actually got the very first slot when he opens up on the 4th. And that's more for a beard trim and a shape up. But the second thing this week was, it's clearly not for that part, but yeah, the second part for this week is we've agreed with Gate 8, who make some awesome sort of luggage products, but also they provide hygiene packs that we will have available for our customers. They'll be available to buy off of the marketplace. And, you know, it could be a really nice thing to, if you're traveling, to order a pack that contains, you know, the face mask, the gloves, the hand sanitizer, alcohol based. You know, it's nicely packaged and absolutely appropriately priced.
Excellent. I guess my highlight of the week, couple of highlights as well. Number one, we've been on this Zoom call for several minutes now. My kids haven't run in yet, so that's a bonus. Second one, though, the partnership we signed with Personal Electric Transport, the e-scooter specialists. So they're going to come onto the platform and we'll be giving discounts to all of the Go Zero community. And Karen, I know you had a go on the E2 GT booster the other day. What do you think of that?
Very fast, really fast, and super scary if you haven't been on an electric scooter before.
You seem
Well, I had an experience of the Lime scooters in Berlin, but they're much faster than the Lime scooters.
They are
super quick.
The brakes
yeah,
are quick, well, they.
And I've seen recently it's kids in the park on e-scooters zipping up and down, which looks like a lot of fun, but equally around our area with the announcement of the $2.5 billion infrastructure for e-bikes, I think there's a lot of questions about whether e-scooters will be allowed. And, you know, do you have to wear a helmet? I don't know. Do you? If you're, are you?
It's kind of down to you at the moment. So there are lots of grey areas, but you know, this comes with the government. They need to stay, well, okay, common sense must prevail. You know, we don't enforce the fact that everyone has to wear helmets on their bikes, but similar to the bikes, they go the same speed, they're the same weight, they're the same velocity, and you know, if one rule for bikes should be the same for e-scooters, in my opinion. But I think a lot of people want to see stricter regulation as well, and it just needs to be across the board. And I think, but common sense with all these things, you know, you can't. Any idiot can buy a bike, any idiot can buy a scooter. We just need the police to police it and say, well, look, if you're going to drive recklessly, confiscation.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of individual responsibility, isn't it?
I think
because
so.
you can have. Yeah, and you can have the more sensible people riding an e-scooter, and then you can have idiots just messing it up for the general population.
Same with cars.
I think that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think they'll start it with probably the rental scheme first. They want to iron out the rental side of it, and I certainly see a real benefit in London. And we're even talking now. We were talking a couple of days ago about putting a scooter in every single one of our cars. So that, you know, our customers could rent it as we drop them at the station. They could commute in London and drop it back to us when we pick them up. So that kind of last mile travel, completely electric, and, you know, off public transport. They just need to sort out the infrastructure and the lanes and stuff to make it safe. But yeah, it's coming, definitely, for sure.
Interestingly, sort of your angle there around sort of people's behaviours, where liability stands. You know, we're working with Tribe, an insurance company that are developing bespoke insurance packages. So it could be an opportunity there to actually get the bike or the e-scooter, and it come already with insurance. So I think there's a huge opportunity there. There's lots, you know, these products, bikes or scooters, aren't cheap. So whether they're stolen or they're damaged, you know, you want that covered as well as your own personal liability. So I think we've got some really good, exciting stuff to come along in that insurance market as well. Yeah.
So out of interest, how much is a scooter, an e-scooter?
Well, there are cheap ones, and the problem with cheap ones is they're cheap and they're not so good. So we've been trialing and product testing various different ones. So the E2 GT booster, they start from around about £400-500 and go up with the decent ones. You can buy £300 ones, but then they're not going to last, and we won't be promoting them on our website. So we're just promoting the good ones that Personal Electric Transport recommend, because they are the experts. They've been doing this for years. We're keen to use them, so we'll go with their best knowledge. But there's one I was driving yesterday, which was £1,200. But it does about 35-40 miles an hour. It's very robust. It's more for sort of off-roading and that side of things. So there's scooters for everyone, But my pound for pound best one is the E2 GT. It's brilliant, and that's about 700, 800 quid.
Mm-hmm.
With a 10% discount for all of our Go Zero.
And how long is, how far is the range, and how long does it take to charge?
It takes about 3 to 4 hours to charge fully, well, depending on the scooter and the size of the battery. And range, you can get about 25 miles, 25 to 50 miles on some of these scooters. So
that's better than my Mini PHEV.
Is it?
By about 10 miles.
Yeah, I get 20 miles if I'm lucky.
Really? Is that it?
Yeah.
So plug-in hybrid, if you don't know, it runs off a battery and a motor. You plug in into a Vestel / Go Zero charger, do a little bit of use. But yeah, you only get a certain amount on the battery before the engine kicks in and you're using petrol.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the good thing about the Mini is it decides, you can put it on the mode, and it decides when to invoke the electric part. And yeah, it is very clever. And what you notice is, so I drive from here onto the M3. So from here to, say, Sunbury-on-Thames, it's on electric. And as soon as I hit the motorway, it switches.
Yeah.
And also it's recharging as I'm driving. So I can technically get to the office on one charge up at the office and get home again.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this sort of brings nicely on to what Vestel do. Obviously, you guys do all sorts of things from electronics and appliances, and pretty much everybody that I know, everyone will have at least one Vestel product in their house, I'm sure, because of
probably
manufacture it and such. But the charging in the UK, that's one of the key things that we need in order to transition to a sustainable, efficient travel, and that's one of the things that you guys are focusing on manufacturing and building those chargers. Tell us a little bit about the process that you've been going through.
The process to get to manufacture, or the process to get to launch?
I guess a bit of both. Like, why have you and other companies started to put so much R&D and emphasis on building charging infrastructure?
I think the key thing is, our core business would be TV and visual display production, and that market is an established market, and it's a market that we're very strong in and we're very good at. And like I said earlier, there are some technologies there that transfer because it's electronics manufacture. It's your TV, you get over-the-air updates, over-the-air upgrades, and with charging, you can do the same thing. And your Tesla, how many updates do you get a week on your Tesla?
We get a fair few updates, bug fixes, extra bits of software that excite us.
Yeah. So that's the exact same in the TV world. So why not use that knowledge and information and transfer it onto other products? And that's, I suppose, there's it being a Turkish company, there will be several incentives within Turkey to develop certain areas. And also our holding company, the company that owns Vestel, Zorlu Group, also has a wing called Zorlu Energy. And I think the EV project came about as part of that, how to deliver sustainable charging within Turkey. And also Turkey is a very warm country, and this isn't a Vestel technology, but what I've seen when you drive into Istanbul are these units at the side of the road on the motorway, and at any one time you can have between 10 and 18 million people traveling into Istanbul along the highways, and they just rotate and create wind turbines, and that generates power. So there's lots of these ideas coming out, and for us, we are primarily a European country. a European company, and we've developed the EV, we developed in Turkey, and then we decided to roll out in Europe. And there's all different regulations and conformities in Europe. And I think also our experience in TV is that there's different broadcasting standards. And this is one of the things that Vestel is very, very good at. Prior to me joining Vestel, I worked at Toshiba. And Toshiba chose Vestel to build some of their TVs, particularly because they were so good at getting all the broadcasting standards. And Europe is a very important market for them. So what you get is you get the cross-transference of knowledge in electronics, but also you get the cross-transference of cultural knowledge and the way that different countries and different setups work. So I think that's what makes Vestel very strong.
I don't know, are we a little bit behind in this country compared to other countries in Europe?
Yes, in some areas we are. We're probably behind China most of all, but it's such a fragmented infrastructure, and you've got the national grids of every country. You've got cybersecurity that you've got to consider. You've also got different electrics in each country. So it's, and this is what a lot of big companies don't understand about Europe. Yeah, it's America, Asia, Europe, but so Europe is 28 countries with different rules and regulations, even though a lot of them are part of the EU. So a lot of Asian companies don't really understand Europe. And that's where Vestel is really well placed, because they do. That's what they're good at. Mm. And I think that's a big challenge, not just for Asian companies, but for American companies, understanding the European market, European cultures, European ways of doing business. And so the EV project for us is, it's really interesting for me to see how different things work in Germany, France, Spain. And the company has just won a very big deal in Spain, about 25,000 units rollout. But in the UK, when I first started on this project, I was really shocked at the various different packages. I think I spoke to you guys about this before. The different companies that you sign up with, they don't make it easy. You know, it's not a simple process of going out and buying an EV and getting a charger and getting your power. It's sign up with this, it costs you a maintenance, a weekly or a monthly maintenance fee, and then the rate that you pay can vary. Why can't you just transport or port your tariff that you've negotiated with you wherever you go to charge?
Yeah,
I don't think
that is where. Sorry, Karen. I was just going to say that is where we together actually can help change that whole infrastructure. You know, we've got some great ideas that we can put in place. We can simplify the ordering process, the learning process for customers online, and install great charging and give them our experience of our almost 1 million miles now we've driven with our fleet of EVs. So we know them inside out, and we'll soon become experts in the charging space with a great partnership with yours as well.
Yeah, and I think consumers here don't really have a lot of choice. They're locked into so much. You know, stay with your broadband provider for 12 months, your phone 18 months. You know, why can't you just switch around and get the best tariff that's available on the market? Why isn't market dynamics working in that way? Again, I think I spoke to you last week when I went on a webinar with the Estonian national grid, and people in Estonia can switch their power every hour to get the best tariff. Now, why can't we do that? Yeah, it's sort of, why don't we have that choice? So is it locked down? Is Ofgem curtailing that? Is it the fact that there's not enough innovation in the UK market, or is there too much regulation?
Surely, then, if it's
all of the above, isn't it?
Like Estonia, then it must be down to regulations. So it's down to us to make a bit of noise about it and say, well, let's change this. And there are some great tariffs out there. We spoke to Rob Lebinsky from Octopus last week about their agile tariff and their Go tariff, which basically makes it a lot easier for people to charge when it's off peak and actually save money on their charging. And this week we had a really good meeting with Sam Rutledge from Co-Charger, and what they're offering, similar to what you were saying just then, Karen, is a charging network that people can then, let's say, for example, I've got an electric car, but I haven't got a car charging port on my house because I rent where I live. But I know that next door has an electric charger, which means it will charge a lot quicker than it would do if I plugged into the 3-pin plug here at and Co-Charger offers that facility. So it's a bit like Airbnb, but for your electric car. So you just sign up. Hey, can I come and park in your drive? So David, you're down in Cornwall at the moment. You've got a drive there. If you put a car charger in, you could very easily say, open that up to people to come and use your charge. You dictate how much they pay for the energy. So if they're you could put the prices high if you don't want people in your car, or low if you do.
Yeah,
I think as well the market for that is massive actually, because it's everyone that's got a charger that can sign up for that platform. If you think about generally where cars are, they're not typically at home when during the working day. They're charging themselves in a work car park. But also here down in Cornwall, holiday homes, second homes, all of those can have chargers installed, and people that come down can charge their car, and they can do it through this platform. And actually, again, through making electric cars charging simpler, we can partner with people and we can put them through our platform, so we can expand that whole network. And that's ultimately the goal that we've got.
And your miles that you've done 1 million miles. What do you think you'll do in 2021?
Oh, go on, Andy. Go on,
we
you
haven't worked that out, have we? I'd have to get the calculator out to work that one out. So hold on, let me just quickly, very rudimentarily do this.
Can I guess it and see if I'm anywhere close? While you
go on then.
Go on then. So we're on a growth of this year from where our current fleet is. So we are, I'm going to guess somewhere around upwards of 20 million, I would say, next year. Because, as we start to grow our car fleet.
I just got to count the noughts.
2 million.
It's
exponential. It's because as the cars grow, the miles just go like that.
It's way north of 2 million miles. Let's just say that.
Andy's struggling with the calculator.
Oh, it's a scientific calculator.
I think the answer's a lot.
Yeah, and are you going to expand your business model to because a lot of people don't want to use public transport? So
yes, so very good question. The answer is, with version 2 of our app, we are launching our Ride Now service. So on version 2, just to give you a bit more information about that. So Ride Now comes along with our marketplace. So the two go out on our app in tandem. So what that means is you can pre-book now, like today, to any destination, airport, address, work address, or if you need to get a car right now, our system will just look at the availability, look who's closest, and give you an ETA. And that ETA could be 5 minutes or it could be 15 minutes. So that launches. We're in final testing of that, and Andy's working really hard behind the scenes. And I think that we're probably about 2 weeks away from putting that into the marketplace, along with Marketplace, where we've already talked about the great partnerships we've got, which will launch at the very same time. So super excited that we're bringing that to the market. And we've got a whole plan of development for iterative versions throughout this year, which brings some great functionality to the platform.
And I think Neil's going to be a busy man, isn't he?
Yeah.
But Neil's
always got a lot to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing an awesome job, and with the plans and the schedule that we've got over the next 18 months, 2 years, it's going to bring so much innovative technology to the front, and it's going to really make a lot of difference to how people choose things, how people pay for things, and giving them choices as well. It's not all about using one product. I think to give them the choice and the information on what they're buying, it'd be fantastic.
Karen, what question to you though? Why do you think apps are so important at the moment?
I think because they're very easy to use. It's as simple as that. You don't have to get your laptop out. You don't have to open a browser. You just, how many apps do you all have on your phone? I've got probably 100. Yeah. So for me, it's just people are so attached to their phones, and it's just such a simple and quick way to get information and to shop, quite frankly. When it first came out, I thought, I'm never going to shop that way. But now that's the way I shop. I don't use my laptop I use my laptop for creating content, but I use this for consuming content. Yeah. And that's why we've come up with this idea. And then you just you can go to your menu and see what your choices are, and you can add your product list on there. And for us, it's just B2B is so traditional and conservative, and we're trying to move away from that. We're trying to make it more engaging and interesting, and instant access to information. And that's what people need.
David, obviously a lot of time's been spent developing the app. How are you happy with that?
Yeah, really happy so far. I mean, as a company, we've got so many ideas for this app and where to take it, and how to bring awesome features to customers. But just going on from what Karen was saying about charging specifically for a second, if Andy shows up the Go Zero TV link, because it's like
Go Zero TV, yeah.
TV, because I see on Go Zero TV loads of features about electric cars, charge, simplification, putting simple information out to people that want to absorb it. Like consuming information, like we do via YouTube and Facebook. Let's Go Zero TV, and you can get all what you need for your charging your EVs there, and then we'll provide content links, best people in the industry to partner with, that sort of stuff. So app is the way forward, and ours is coming on very nicely.
Yeah.
The way we're transitioning to electric vehicles, there's going to be more and more electric vehicles that accompany cars. So people that travel stay in hotels, for example. So hotel charging infrastructure is a big target, with Go Zero. You want to go to the hotel, you want to charge the hotel, you want to book the charging space, you want a smart charger that's going to distribute the power accordingly to the car that needs it the most. And as we progress the charging, the traveling, that relationship through our technology, we can offer customers so much more, and we can bring great partners directly to them, which is great. So they don't have access to that now. So super excited about what the future brings for this.
Definitely. And I think maybe I went into the wrong industry. I should have become a software engineer.
Yeah, we should have done that.
Yeah.
Start training my 4-year-old now. But I think I think we've pretty much covered everything for this week. But Karen, it's been great to have you on board, and we look forward to having you in one of the Go Zero cars soon again, and taking you to wherever you need to be. Before I let you go, plans for the weekend, and what's your take on Brexit? No, I'm going to have to edit this.
Well, my plan for the weekend is not to go anywhere near a beach. And interestingly enough, because of COVID, I've been walking a lot more, I've been cycling a lot more, and what I've noticed as a cyclist, I hate motorists, And as a motorist, I hate cyclists.
Yes.
And we really need to get the infrastructure sorted out, and we really need people. It's interesting, we had a meeting with our press agency, and they were saying that, and they deal with a lot of automotive companies, and they were basically saying that people really aren't that engaged about the environment. They're engaged about saving money and cost savings, and if it benefits the environment, that's a good thing. So I think actually we need a proper public campaign, because everyone is rightly upset about COVID, but pollution kills more people than COVID. Yeah. And what's very scary is, China road congestion is greater now than it was in 2019, because people have stopped using public transport and they've got back into their vehicles. And the miles across the world is going to increase, which was why I was asking you that question about how many miles you think you will do next year. So congestion and pollution is going to increase. So how can we, as co-partners, what can we do to stop that?
Absolutely 100% right, because we want to get people out of their diesel petrol vehicles and into electric. Sustainable electric is where we want to be. Also as well, we want people out of cars in cities. We want them walking, cycling more, scooting more, e-bikes more, one wheel. But there's so many great products out there that we can bring to the platform, and it's our job as we lead this change with others to educate and bring people with us.
100%. And those partners that we've signed this week, Personal Electric Transport, wicked for getting around London. It is hands down the best way to get around London, because you get to see what is going on in London. You're not on a horrible sticky tube, you're not on the train, and the quicker that Grant Shapps and the team and Boris Johnson and Sadiq Khan can wave some magic wands, get the roads sorted so that there are mobility lanes where
that's a good point.
But e-scooters, one wheels, and better ways to get around London, to get people out of public transport and basically just be more efficient.
Yeah, I mean, the EV is the perfect social distancing vehicle.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to a petrol station. You charge at home or you charge at your destination. So what stronger message could there be? And if they do this government scrappage scheme, then
£6,000.
Then maybe that's part of the incentive, but it does need to be the other add-ons as well, like you say, the e-bike, the e-scooter, the e-taxi, and then what about future technologies, hydrogen, all of those infrastructure elements that we need to look at.
We've got a lot of work to do, I think.
Absolutely.
Between Go Zero and Vestel, I think we can do it. So
we can change the world.
Come on. As for Paul with his PPE in the back, good touch there, Andy.
Oh yeah, it's been good. He's been advising me a lot, actually.
He's been whispering in your ear all this time.
Yeah. Yes. Bless him.
They're amongst us. But guys, thank you so much for your time again. I hope you enjoyed the Go Zero happy hour. If you did, like, subscribe. If you didn't, don't tell anyone. And we look forward to seeing you on social media as well. So you can follow us on all the normal channels and check out Vestel as well. They're doing amazing things. So thank you very much for joining us. Don't drink and drive. Go Zero.
Go Zero.
Go Zero. Cheers.
Cheers.